Man, it's such a beautiful day. I'm so glad we came out to have a cup of coffee. So how about you join us with your own cup of coffee and listen into an amazing year that we've had with the Lord.
Yeah.
So we are so excited to invite you into a journey with us as we reflect on 2025. We've taken time to look back, and there's just so much to be thankful for. So instead of sharing everything all at once, we'll be sharing in parts so that all together it'll tell the story of the whole year. And we would love for you to check back and hear the amazing things that God did. So when we were praying and we were preparing to share all of the things that we were invited into by the Lord, He really showed us something sweet. He highlighted multiple themes throughout the year. So we're going to begin with provision.
Yeah. Over the last 4.5 years, we have so many testimonies of how God has provided for us, and He deserves all the glory. We hope it will be an encouragement to you as we share a few of those highlights.
Yeah, so you know what I think we should do? I think we should share about the first summer that we were out living in the camper. Remember that lady in South Dakota and that campground that we stopped in for those few nights?
Yeah. So we had decided to stop at a campground in South Dakota just for 2 nights. And it was on the last night that we were there. Kim had gone off to use the laundromat, and I was just hanging back at the camper. And I had noticed when I looked outside, there was this couple standing right on top of our truck, and they were pointing at it and talking about it. And just wondering what was going on, I stepped outside and introduced myself and asked if there was anything that I could help them with. And they told me they were admiring the welding job that I had done and the rack that was holding up our bicycles across the bed. And then after a little bit of small talk, they looked at the license plate and were like, "You're from Florida?" And started asking about our travels and what we're doing on the road. And I briefly explained that we had sold everything and moved into our camper, and we're just following the Lord's lead and to wherever He wanted us to go and doing whatever He told us to do when we got there. And she looked at me with this really inquisitive look, like, "How did you hear from God?" is what she asked me. And I explained it wasn't this audible voice or anything, but that it was through a process of praying and fasting and just seeking Him in His Word, and just confirmation over confirmation. And we had peace that that's what He wanted us to do. And the conversation quickly ended after that. and later, when Kim got home, I told her, this lady came up to us and was asking, and I told her the whole story, and I was pretty sure the lady thought we were kooky.
Yeah, so the next morning as we were packing up to leave, this woman started walking towards the camper. And so I greeted her, and she said that she was the one who had been talking to Tim the night before. So I already had a little knowledge of what that conversation was about. And she told me that after she went back to her camper and reflected on their conversation, she realized that we were actually an answer to her prayer that very morning. And so she shared with us a journal entry that she had written, and she was asking God in this entry how His love and the gospel would continue to go forth with all the social distancing and shutdowns that were going on in our nation. And so she said that after hearing about our journey, she felt that God was telling her, this is the way, this is one way that I'm going to do that. Then with her checkbook in hand, she told me that she felt led to support us. And she wrote a check, folded it up, and handed it to me. At that point, I was already teary-eyed and asked if I could pray for her and her family. It was just a really, really sweet moment. So after she left, we went back into our camper and we're finishing up packing, and we finally sat down and opened up the check. And when we did, we didn't know if it was like $5, $50. It didn't really matter. God had met us there in that moment. And so we just looked at it and we were like, oh, guys, a complete stranger, through that, God placed $1,000 in our hands. At that time, we didn't even feel like we needed it, but God knew what was ahead. And so He used that gift to increase our faith, and it felt like He was saying, I've got you. Keep going. Trust me. You heard me clearly. Because this was only a few months after we had first left in the camper. So that was a big, big, monumental, provisional moment for us.
Yeah, for sure. That was a very encouraging moment. But there's also been times when the provision wasn't even meant for us, and we just got to be a conduit and pass it on to where it needed to be. And we truly love when God uses us that way. This one time we were attending a missions meeting in Texas, and this gentleman walked up after the meeting and he gave me $250, and then he proceeded to tell me that when he was leaving his house, the Holy Spirit pricked him and said, grab this cash and put it in your pocket. And it was during that meeting when he saw us, the Lord told him, give this money to them. So he was just being obedient. And the cool part is, you know, he didn't know it, but that day, like right before the meeting, I was literally online looking for the parts our friends who had a homestead in Arizona needed to basically fortify their house for winter because their pipes had been freezing and all that. And what it cost to get the stuff for them was $250, and we didn't have the extra money at the time. And so we knew immediately once he handed us that money, just click buy and have that stuff sent to them. And it's so fun to be a conduit like that for God.
Yeah, that was super amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, God in his creativity and his faithfulness, he's provided for us in so many other ways too. So we really could go on and on and on. But there were times that he provided meat, not just a little bit of meat. Like one time alone, he provided enough to feed our family for like 4 months. And then there's other times that he's donated, you know, haircuts and services that we weren't even looking for donations for. And so there's also been seasons where he's provided work. We'd meet believers that owned businesses, and after getting to know Tim and his skill set, they'd offer work to him with no contracts, no 9 to 5, no strings attached. We still could be available, but also this was a way Lord provided funds for us. Yep. And so a lot of those business owners, they're still really close friends of ours today. And so God's added people to our family as well. So sometimes provision looks like odd-end side jobs. Sometimes it's many different things. But this past January, it was a side job.
Yeah, and as much as we've seen the Lord provide for us over and over again, wouldn't be telling you the truth if I said it was easy to get through month to month. I constantly find myself on edge, sometimes a little stressed even about wondering what we need for the next month is going to come from. And truthfully, I think the Lord does that sometimes on purpose to just keep us pressing in tighter and tighter and trusting more and more in Him. And last January, that's exactly where we were. It was in that moment that actually a friend had reached out to me and asked me to do a big fiberglass job to repair his boat that was damaged. And I wasn't exactly wanting to take the job, so I prayed about it. I knew that I could do the work, and I knew that we needed the funds. So I prayed about it some more and wrestled, and prayed again and wrestled even more. But I still wasn't sure that it was really what I was supposed to do. Just going through that wrestle. But it was through talking to him after all that, he had mentioned that he wanted to use the boat for ministry. He wanted to use the boat to take kids fishing. Mm-hmm. And it was, after hearing that, I knew I couldn't refuse the job. I had to go ahead and take it because it was more than about making money or just bringing in a buck. It was going to be used for the kingdom. I agreed that I would do the major restoration work and leave the cosmetics to him. He enjoyed doing that anyway, so it was a good motivator to get the boat moving along so that he could use it and start taking youth out.
Yeah, so through that side job, God provided exactly what we needed for the next month. But it wasn't just about the money, as Tim had mentioned. It was seeing His faithfulness so clearly. And the provision didn't stop there. I mean, we were able to move the camper to our friend's property while the work was being done. So for me, in my heart, that was super sweet because that meant that we could share meals and we could have real conversations and just weeks of genuine fellowship, not only for us as adults, but for our kids too. And so both of our families, I think, really enjoyed that time. And so last January's provision wasn't just financial, it was spiritual, and God met us in every way that that we needed, and He really even drew our hearts closer to Him through it.
Yeah. So as you listen to these stories, our prayer is that they'll remind you of God's faithfulness, because the same God who's provided for us is still providing today.
Yeah. Last January, God met us exactly where we were, and the theme of provision just continued throughout the rest of the year. Yep. And so 2025 was our first year as official missionaries with Maritime Ministries, being the hands and feet of Jesus, sharing His love and serving those in need on and across the water. such a great year of being part of that team. And so we're thankful for all of those who have partnered with us through this year, through prayer and financial support, because you have been a part of the provision that God has provided for us and our family this year as we've continued to walk this journey with Him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been such a blessing to us to be able to step out in this and to invite each and every one of you along with us.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without you.
Absolutely
Everybody
not.
plays their part, and we're just thankful for those of you that have joined us in this way. So we're excited to share more with you of what God did this past year, 2025.
Yep.
And so we'll see you at the next reflection.
Yeah, this was just January. We got a lot more to share, so we'll see you soon.
Tune in. Bye-bye. Oh, I should have poured mine first.
You added this much to mine, and
I know.
like that's all you got.
There's still more in there. See, I just didn't pour it completely because I was done talking. Okay. Drip, drip. Okay. I got enough. When the coffee is done, we're done. Just kidding.
We'll see.